We are all called. The problem is that most of us, we just choose not to answer. That's profound. Peace and blessings. This is Derric Moore. And in this video, I want to talk about the difference, or how to recognize, the difference between your destiny and your calling. All right. First of all, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to talk about the destiny because your calling supports your destiny. So your destiny is the whole reason why you're here. That's the purpose of you being here. All right. Your destiny refers to your lifelong lesson. Okay. What I mean by lifelong lesson is that basically every circumstance, every situation, every problem, everything that you're going to experience is always going to refer back to reminding you this is your destiny. Okay. So for instance, I have Jehuti in my destiny. And as I've mentioned to you before, Jehuti is in Greek is Thoth. And Jehuti governs or is over oracles, divination, wisdom, sciences, sacred sciences, esoteric sciences. Jehuti also is over, shamanism. Jehuti refers to being able to look at, both sides of the picture, because it refers to, Jehuti, that energy, that Necharu still refers to holistic thinking. Okay. So being able to see the spiritual world and the physical world, and because of that, because Jehuti governs my incarnation, governs my destiny, and my destiny, my whole purpose of coming here is to learn this lesson. Every time I have a problem, or every time I had a problem in my life, it refers to, it referred back to Jehuti. All right. Give you an example. For instance, one time I went ahead and, I made this decision, I got this job, someone told me about a job, and they was like, hey, you ought to try to get this job. You're a shoe fit in, as they call it. Basically it was going to be a good job for me. I was going to get, XYZ dollars and all this other kind of stuff. But it required that I move. Okay. So, I didn't do a reading. I went ahead and I made the decision. Okay, let me go ahead and move out there because, hey, this person said that I was going to get this job and that they would get me this job. And, it's going to work out well. Okay. Lo and behold, I moved, and I mean, this was like this was like a, like a move across the country type of deal. So lo and behold, I move and I get the job, as promised. But there was a whole lot of other little circumstances that took place. There was an issue in regards to insurance. Now they said they offered insurance, but because of one little technicality in this, in getting this job, all right, because of this one little technicality, I ran the risk of losing everything. Okay. And when I mean everything, I'm talking about, like I said, I'm talking about my insurance, the actual job, the whole deal. I ran the risk of losing all of it. Okay. Now, for a minute, I could have been upset with the guy who told me about the job, who was saying, hey, this job is going to work for you and all that kind of stuff. For a minute, I could have been upset with him. But it was my destiny. My destiny is Jehuti. And then that was a situation in which, I should have went to the oracle. It's a situation where I should have went and did a reading. I should have got some wise counsel. Okay. And, not just someone's opinion of something, I should have got some wise counsel. All right. And that's the reason why that happened. Now, somebody else could have had that same situation. Somebody else could have went through that same ordeal that I went through and would not have had the same kind of problems that I've had. All right. and it would have been perfectly okay with them. They would have been able to bounce back, or it might have been worse. But whatever the case, it would have been a different scenario, or it would have been a different situation. And the reason why is because Jehuti governs my destiny, not that individual. Okay? So understand, when we're talking about destiny, we're talking about lifelong lessons. All right? And that means, so for instance, if you're talking about me for an example, that means that every time I make a decision, okay, every time I make a decision, I need to be, I need to be talking to Jehuti. I need to be like, hey, okay, tell me what's going on, because I'm missing something. Show me the full picture. Show me everything, okay? So I can see it. Give me that insight, all right? So that's the whole purpose of destiny. Your destiny is your lifelong lesson. It is a lesson that you're going to be learning for your entire life, okay? Now, your calling, on the other hand, is different from your destiny, but it supports your destiny. Now, part of the reason why a lot of us, we get the calling, we get that all mixed up, is mainly because we are disconnected from our ancestral ways. We're disconnected from our ancestral traditions. So as a result, because most of us, we've been raised in the West, or we've been raised in some organized religion, whenever we hear the word calling, automatically what comes to mind is we're called to be a preacher. We're called to go to the pulpit. We're called to be an evangelist, or we're called to start a church. Okay, and that's not the case. That is not the case at all. Okay, your calling, typically, it refers to a skill or a talent or trade that you have to develop, that is going to, again, it's going to support your destiny. Okay, one of the differences between your calling and your destiny is that a lot of times your calling, you actually enjoy your calling. Okay, no matter the complexity of it, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, you usually, for the most part, you like your calling. Okay, you enjoy your calling once you fall into it. An example of your calling, and keep in mind, like I said, typically you enjoy your calling. Again, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how complex it is, your calling is typically something that you really enjoy. For instance, so like I was saying, when I was going through the whole illness period, and I was going through trying to recover, I remember I was in the hospital, and one of the things that was, they would always show a bunch of infomercials. They always show a bunch of these drug commercials and all that kind of stuff. But they also, at the hospital I was at, I was fortunate that they were, they had the travel channel and they had a cooking channel. And the thing about it was that basically that's what helped me to keep my mind at ease. That's what helped me to keep my mind focused on my healing, by thinking about things that I wanted to do. Once I get out this hospital, once my body is healed, this is what I want to do. Okay. These are the things I enjoy. This is, so I'm already trying to basically create that alternate reality. Okay. So, like I said, so one of the things, so I'm sitting up here and I'm watching the Travel Channel, and I'm watching, they're showing all these different, cultures all around the world. And they're showing all these different cuisines. Okay. People cooking certain foods and all that. From that, I'm watching cooking channels, okay? So I'm going back and forth watching the Travel Channel and the cooking channel, all right? So, of course, when I get home, first thing I want to do, let's cook, all right? And the great thing about that was that in the process of cooking, this is how I'm learning. I'm also dealing with, I discover my calling. I discover my calling is I enjoy cooking, all right? And I enjoy cooking everything. It doesn't even matter if I don't eat it or not. I enjoy cooking it mainly because I want to cook a healthier version of it, or I want to, see how there's a way in which I can cook a healthier version of it. And I know you're probably wondering, well, If my calling is dealing with cooking and my destiny is dealing with Shehuti, how do those two relate? Well, in the process of actually doing that, in the process of learning how to cook and developing that skill, I'm hearing ancestral spirits talk. Okay? So I'm hearing ancestral spirits, my grandmother and aunts and them. I'm hearing them talk about how to make, certain sauces or certain dishes or so. In addition, I'm hearing my wife's ancestral spirits talk about how to do certain things. Okay? So how does it relate to my destiny? How does that relate to Jehuti? It's the intuition part. All right? Through the cooking, I'm learning how to intuit. I'm learning how to listen and tap into that ancestral spiritual realm and hear the voices, hear or see what it is that my ancestors or the spirits are basically telling me. Okay? So it doesn't directly deal with my destiny, but it does deal with my destiny. Okay? And that's what I want you to understand about the difference between your incarnation or your destiny and your calling. Okay? So like I said, embrace your callings. Okay? And by the way, I forgot to mention that you can have more than one calling. Okay? But it all ties back to your destiny. All right? So embrace your callings. All right? A lot of us, we've been called, but we just won't answer the calling. Okay? And the part of the reason why we don't answer the calling is because of what other people think, what we think other people would think, Again, give you an example regarding cooking. I had people who was telling me, I had, some real silly, foolish individuals, telling me, well, cooking's not, that's not a masculine thing. Are you, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, everybody on the continent can cook, and it had nothing to do with that. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you about your calling, is that because of me cooking, that was one of the activities that actually improved my health. Okay. So it was meant for me to do that. And that's what I'm saying. We have to divorce ourselves from what people who don't understand how spirits work. We need to divorce ourselves from them. We can't totally just get rid of them, but we have to learn how to shut them down and stop them from deterring our spiritual progress and our spiritual evolution. Okay. Now, there's a lot of us that have been called to do a lot of things, a lot of great things. But again, we're trying to, we're listening to other people. Stop listening to other people. Accept your calling, answer your calls that are being made to you, because you never know. Part of the reason why your community or your family, part of the reason why they're not being improved is because you're not doing your part. Okay? So answer your calls and move on. Okay? So that you can achieve your destiny. All right? So hopefully that helped. As always, like I said, thanks for your support. Remember to share. Remember to like the videos if you enjoy the content. If you got any questions or so, drop me a line. Other than that, thanks. Had to poo. Peace.